up? What's up? What's up? What is up in the snow? It's up past her knees and everything else. So, although we are all in Pittsburgh, we are virtual. Matter of fact, one of us attempted to go to the office,
Yeah.
got stuck.
Who got stuck? Nigga said, yo, listen, Miracle. Your man was like, can you push your car out the snow?
Hey, miracle. Did we just see this man?
There was an emergency. The state said, "Do not leave your house."
Miracle.
And he said, we need to film in person." And only because you got stuck, he said, "Oh, you don't have to leave your house because Farouk is not okay. Only because you were not okay is the only reason my life did not have to be put in danger." So
This nigga said, can you push your car out?
The last two snowfalls, this man went shirtless with shorts outside in the snow. Your man did that, not me.
But I didn't push no car.
Okay, but I'm saying every 2 seconds you're on social media showing some feet of working out. Push your car, my nigga.
Skin in the snow, you can run to
this
the
nigga
office.
is cool with the cold, and this nigga's always working out. I'm thinking you could push. I'm like, can you push it? And that, that could be another TikTok that you do.
He said content.
I dug the back tires out to where I could, and then it was just like, oh, okay, this ain't working. This ain't working.
I want you to get frostbite, not for you, but for the content. Okay.
This nigga was like, yo, I'm gonna come and get you. I'm like, but what I'm gonna do with my car? I'm in the middle of the street.
Leave it, bro. But anyway, yes, I thought that because of what has been happening, that like we should do it in person because of all the crazy.
White supremacy literally said no.
Yes.
White power and white powder.
Yes, because our new mayor did not do a good job. Our new mayor did not get to them
like
streets.
They intentionally. I'm telling you, if you look at my Instagram, it looks like they intentionally blocked us in.
They said,
they blocked the office in.
Y'all ain't gonna take to the airwaves and critique me this week.
There was like 4.5, 5 feet in front of the office. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy.
You didn't vote for him. Your street's not getting plowed.
I mean, it must be the case.
JK, that's a joke. It's not true.
Yes.
It's not true.
But yes. Again, my name. Let's just introduce myself. I'm just X, co-founder and CEO of 100 Media in my home office, unfortunately, and the person who's most happy to be home.
Blessed. Allah is the best knower. He said warmth.
Allahu Alim. Allahu Alim.
Warmth is what you deserve. You do not have to go outside in the elements. And I have, warmth. Snow's miracle, aka the blessed of the blessings here inside, snow's outside.
It is
happy.
You're right. You said just start snowing again. I did clean my car off, and that was the feet. It was a lot of snow. So yeah, it's cold outside. Yeah. And snow. It's cold.
And I'm also 5'1", so you gotta think about me as a 5'1"
That
person.
is true.
Why are you laughing?
Yes. No, because the snow was deep for me.
Almost up to my neck, okay, my own shovel. So I'm over here just like digging out over a foot of snow. I said, this is
now
slavery. Slavery has stolen from you the warmth, because I'm supposed to be in a tropical place, but slavery.
Okay, so be careful because the mic is like right under you. So when you get a little activated, so just be careful of the mic. And then
gotcha.
Apparently after Farouk was able to dig his car out, he was kidnapped. He's currently in a hostage location.
Actually in my bed. I'm actually in my bed.
This is why Farouk always goes to the office when we're virtual. Yeah. But yes, you're bed.
I have a very minimalistic space.
Got you.
Because I'm never home, so I'm
Japanese,
not paying for
right? What's the feng shui? Your feng shui is minimalistic.
Wabi sabi.
Yes,
all of that. I got some wabi sabi happening here. Yeah,
all that good stuff. Yeah. All that good stuff. Well, I don't even want to say we called it because that sounds very insensitive. But we saw when ICE killed Renee Good and the backlash and basically the fact that not only did ICE and Kristi Noem and Donald Trump stand squarely behind Renee Good shooter, right? I mean, even when he was his name was put out there, and I don't know if they're still, because it was supposed to be this weekend where they honor this man, they defended him, they would refuse any type of investigation from Minnesota or anywhere else. I just saw this FBI agent, I guess, resign because they refused to let him even investigate Renee Good's murder. That this was probably going to happen again, because instead of trying to tamp down on the violence, what Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and all those other people from ICE did was they sent more ICE agents into Minneapolis, which created, and so as more ICE agents came, it's more violence. We saw a 5-year-old boy being used as bait to lure his mom. I mean, again, when you think about the inhumanity of these things, a 2-year-old was put on some plane somewhere. We found out that ICE has a facility just for children, just for small children. And if they're not protecting women in these facilities and women are being raped, what do things happening to these children in these facilities? Then we saw another videotape murder, this time of Alex Pretti, a ICU nurse from Minneapolis, by all accounts, was trying to protect a woman who ICE had thrown onto the ground. By now, I'm sure everybody's seen the video. The New York Times actually had a really good step-by-step breakdown of what actually happened. But again, when you see the video, you see, Alex attempting to protect this woman protester. You see him thrown to the ground. Alex was a legal licensed gun carrier. We saw agent, but at no time do you see him reach for his gun or try to grab for his gun, even though he was being brutalized. He was being hit in the face with the tear gas canister or some type of canister.
I thought he was disarmed and then shot.
Yes, but what I'm saying is,
So
when he had his gun,
okay. He never reached for his
when
weapon.
he was thrown to the ground and when he was being beat,
right.
there's literally one of the ICE agents are, there was like the what do you call it? It's not tear gas, but when you spray the people in the mace, beating him with the mace canister. At no point during that scuffle did he go to reach back. Like if he went to reach, then they could be like, oh, he was reaching, he was not. So when he was disarmed, there was really no reason for the agent that initiated the shooting, because also that agent, again, clearly on videotape, is shooting him in his back. The agent, he's in a prone position. He's not in any position. He's not hurting anybody. He's not a threat to anybody. Correct? Right. The first officer, for whatever reason. So again, if you look at the New York Times breakdown of it, they yell gun, gun, and you see the guy remove his gun. It seems like them yelling gun caused the officer to then, I don't know, Miracle, we'll come to you, because I see you're saying like, nah, the officer shoots him 3 times in the back, and then the other officers, again, even though he is no threat, lying on the ground in a prone position, they start to shoot him. For what reason? Again, what reason? There was no reason for any officer to shoot him, because none of those officers were in any type of threat for their lives. Again, the first officer that started shooting is shooting him in the back. Nobody's a threat. I mean, he's not a threat at all. And then at that point, obviously, this is when that it, like, to me, and we've talked about this. I think we talked about it on the last show. I said that, there's really no defense for anything Donald Trump's doing. And if you're defending Donald Trump, you are a person who likes his in your mouth. That's it. That's the only explanation. You like his, and you like his, that's it. So now we've gone to a whole nother side of things, and particularly
there's only one other side if we talking about oral.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they're on the other side. they doing it all, Farouk, because we've got to a point now where
We're not
like
gonna kink shame. That's what
the
we're not gonna do.
kings
I don't
of
understand how
the kings
we got
of
here.
the kings of Second Amendment gun protection, gun owners are now saying nobody should have a gun. So I guess I
Yeah,
do
don't
want to
bring your
come
gun to it.
right.
Don't bring an armed weapon. Don't be armed with a weapon at a
Right.
protest, right?
Miracle again. That is right. So again, and we've literally watched Republicans make gun carrying protesters famous, like stars, celebrities. We've watched them do that. So Miracle, when I was kind of breaking it down, you had some faces. Can you, I guess, talk about like from your perspective how you view the shooting? And same where I see you in your bed, Farouk yawning. That's what happens when you're in your bed. Your body's saying
No,
lay down.
I mean it's the idea of like I'm gonna be very hard. I as a Black person have been struggling these past 3 weeks.
Okay.
Watching people recognize everything we said about being Black was actual and factual.
Yes.
That part.
And it has been almost like psychological terrorism to
Oh,
literally
wow.
watch people be like, oh my gosh, do you know the police can do this? Like, yes, the police yelled gun and then they shot him after they yelled gun. Like, did we not say that in 2020?
Yeah.
Did we not say that with Philando Castile?
Yes, we
Have
did.
we not talked about how police yelled stop resisting to beat people up and falsely accuse them of resisting
and just,
because they've been trained?
Just to put a pause on you, Philando Castile was also a legal gun owner.
Correct.
Who the NRA or none of these organizations came to his defense. But please continue.
And the NRA was like, wait a minute, hold on, you have the right to your Second Amendment. But it has been really mind-boggling because people have been talking about ICE hitting them, ICE grabbing the wrong people. There was a lady in Minneapolis, ICE raided the wrong apartment. I forgot the Asian presenting man who was taken out in his shorts. That was the wrong apartment, and the guy they were searching for was already incarcerated, right? And people, I just don't understand like how a policing agency could do something like this. And it's just like, did you not believe us when we were telling you this was what was happening? When we were talking about, it
looks that way.
Like, were you not listening to? So it has been like very weird to watch people mobilize. But then, like, the NRA coming out in defense of Alex, it's just like, why couldn't you have been in defense of all these Black people who've been murdered and who are legal gun carriers or who are literally just in prison just because they had a gun? Like, where is your fight and advocacy for them? It is as no surprise that Alex is not only murdered, but he's been murdered because the person that they were trying to get they didn't even have the correct information about him.
Right.
And this has literally been a state occupation, a state-sponsored occupation of a city. The attorney, the General Pam Bondi was basically like, if you want Minneapolis to leave, give us access to you want these ICE to leave Minneapolis, give us access to your voter rolls. And it's like, this is what an occupation is. This is what a dictatorship is.
Yeah.
And people are being literally murdered in the street in broad daylight because y'all didn't listen to us in 2020.
I mean, you're
like Rodney King, like this is Rodney King's moment actually. And it's just like very sad. Like 20 years later, here we are.
Yeah. And you called it. I mean, to see Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, send Minneapolis a letter saying, if you just turn over your voter rolls, that ICE will leave. Again, this is gangster tactics and gangster behavior, but we've been saying that from the beginning. This is what's going on. This is why it's like all those don't tread on me, the government's going to take our guns and weapons and all that. Where are they now? They've literally, well, we know where they are. They're inside Donald Trump's underwear. You know what I'm saying? Like all over his penis and his nuts. I mean, that's where they are. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. I mean, again, so it's like, oh, you really didn't believe it. But I mean, you're absolutely right. This was, I saw a clip yesterday, Miracle, where somebody was saying, this is a popular white, progressive podcaster was saying, this is something Putin would do. This is like Russia sending people to terrorize communities. And I'm like, no, it's not like Russia. Literally, this has been happening to black. You don't even have to go. We can start in 2014 when Mike Brown was killed. And me and you both, Miracle, were in Ferguson and witnessed an actual army come into Ferguson, tear gas children, arrest people, harass people, beat people, shoot people. We saw this happen. This is when Obama was president. So the idea that this is something new, it's new to white people now. Like we've never seen we've seen white people killed by police before. And we've seen white people unjustly killed by police before. What we haven't seen is those white people that have been killed unjustly by police called domestic terrorists, right? Because what has been very unique, particularly about Black death, is Mike Brown. The New York Times said, "Oh, he wasn't an angel. He was no angel on the day he died." Right? Trayvon Martin. They tried to, he smoked marijuana. They tried to take a picture of the rapper The Game and say this is what he really looked like. He's really this big buff tattoo guy. Like they tried to do all this. He's deserving of death. And so to see Renee Good, who clearly wasn't even angry or upset and looked like was moving her car, and this ICU nurse now turned into immediately. I mean, Bovino, who serves some role, I don't really know what his role is in ICE, but he has a leadership role in ICE, basically said this man came to massacre police because he had a gun and why does he have a gun and 2 clips? He came to massacre police. And so to see now Alex's family have to put out a statement about him and people have to put out pictures and stories, you're 100% right, Miracle. This is something that as Black people we have been dealing with. And again, if once you take humanity away from one of us, you can take humanity away from all of us. I think this is the point, particularly, to shoot you, Bell. This is our Miracle's Always Right segment. This is what Miracle has been saying throughout the course of what we will see happening in Palestine, right? That when you can dehumanize, murder, and kill a group of people without any type of consequences, that's not just going to stay there to that specific group of people. We did an episode, it had to be 6 months ago, that was called Imperial Boomerang. We talked about this. So yes, I mean, I could understand Miracle as somebody who spent the last 2 years pleading with us to recognize everyone's humanity and everyone's right to live. Like now we're here, and it's like if we had just all taken that mantra of everyone is deserving of love, care, food, water, resources, and ultimately humanity, we don't get to this place. Farouk, again, you're somebody that you've been out in protest. You're also Pittsburgh, like a lot of places, has like a right to carry. How do you view what's happening, and what was your take on what happened in Minneapolis and the response?
The only thing that was like the immediate thing for me was the Malcolm X quote, right? Chickens coming home to roost.
Yeah. And
that's what kept playing in my head as I watched all the discourse expound on social media and online. And the thing that I posted up last night, I was like, the way white people have intrinsically gentrified police brutality makes me not want to care about anything ever again. Like they've colonized grief, and they've made it to a point to where it's like they just turned us into the oppression Olympics all over again with how they're handling this situation. And like you said, we don't have to go back farther than 2014, but we could talk about Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, right? We could talk about these people who are just killed for existing.
Yeah.
By police.
Antoine Rose the second.
Like really, like So for white people to get on these platforms and then all of a sudden be aghast, it's just mind-boggling to me. And
Right,
it's
right,
something
because
I just
it's
don't
like
even.
it's happening to you, and I do think the
Right. That's the
difference.
only. That's. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I was gonna say I do think it's a difference between Renee Good, a white woman being killed,
Right.
and Alex Pretti, a white man being killed.
Yeah,
And I think that
absolutely, and
that's
it's
and it
specifically because Renee Good is in the was in the queer community, correct? So
right.
that's almost like them purging an undesirable for them, like in their
hundred
mantra and
percent.
like the way
Well,
they're
also,
looking at it.
right. Also, even the when you look at the when this white supremacist male patriarchy, like the only I mean they're telling you outright that the white woman's only value to them is like to make white
Breed,
children.
yeah.
They don't want her to vote. They don't want her to have any type of resources. Apparently, if you MAGA, they want them all to go to the same plastic surgeon and get that same face. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things that they want.
Yeah.
So
Let me address your other point though.
when when a white man gets killed, this is
Yeah,
why now the NRA all of a sudden is stepping up, and this is why I just want to point that out. This is why I think now it's a pause, right? Trump
absolutely.
meeting with Kristi Noem for 2 hours, right? Bovino getting kicked out of Minneapolis by the Trump administration, and Holman coming in because now again a white man who was an ICU nurse who helped veterans. He worked specifically with veterans, and he was a licensed gun owner. This is who you spend all this time talking about how white men got to be tough and they should, This is what JD Vance said about Kyle Rittenhouse. He who again was illegally carried a gun across state and shot people at a protest. It was like, oh, white men got to be tough. So he was the outdoorsman. He was all those things that you say a white man should be. He was that, and that didn't
Yeah.
save him. Go ahead, Brooke.
And the posthumous editing of his photos to make him look like he wasn't as feeble as he actually was is something that black people have been saying that they've been doing to us,
Oh,
doctoring our
they did
photos to
that
make us.
to Alex.
Yeah, like they
I
rounded
missed
his
that.
face up. They made him look more healthy. The White House put out like a photo of like what he looked like, and it was like, oh, okay, he had more color in his skin. He had a fuller face. He looked more handsome. Like they tried to make him look darker and fuller and more of a threat, right?
Oh,
When
wow.
you actually look at Alex Pretti, which is why that his family had to release the photos of him and why his family had to provide statements about his character and his being, is because he was kind of like a gangly, unassuming person who didn't at first glance pose a physical or imminent threat to anybody around him, right? So them putting that photo out there made it look like, oh, this could have been a person who would have posed a threat. He had darker skin. He could have been ethnically ambiguous, right? And then this whole concept of the comment sections on any social media platform you're looking at, everybody's just defaulting to, if you're not here illegally, this won't happen. Well, this isn't happening to immigrants. This is happening to white American citizens. So your argument is null and void. The presence of immigrants does nothing to escalate police activity. They're just doing that because that's how they train. When you're a hammer, everything is nails. So they're killing indiscriminately white people now, right? This has nothing to do with immigration. This has nothing to do with whatever you think it has something to do with. This has nothing to do with, some edict from the American government that's pushing back on or trying to create safe borders. This is about martial law. This is about a federal jurisdiction or a federal entity operating within the jurisdiction of totalitarianism. This is a federal entity that is operating that in a way that we've seen happen before in Nazi Germany. This is a Gestapo, and for Bovino to say, if you call us Gestapo, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, right? That's what he said.
Calling the thing,
yeah,
is what is supposed to happen.
And it's like you're dressing like Bovino is literally cosplaying.
He put that World War I
cosplaying as a Nazi. So like you're cosplaying as a Nazi, so much so that the German press.
I would say the Germans was like, yo, that was a choice.
The Germans was like, you are trying to look like a Nazi. Go ahead, Miracle.
Yeah. He went to a tailor and was like, give me that like Third Reich chic. Like that is what he did. No, I mean he literally was like carbon copy. What have I seen a Nazi dress like, look like, move like? If you just analyze, even because no one talks like that. Like even the haircut, it was
Right.
like very much Nazi like.
I imagine.
But
I
what?
wonder if when you go to the white supremacist barbershop, do they have that photo that you see in the black barbershops, and then they have like a little like give me the Hitler or give me
I'm gonna be
the
honest with you. They actually
Stalin.
do. They
Oh,
they
you been
do.
there?
I
You been
watch.
in there?
No. 'Cause this is how I know. This is how I know. I watch like barber ASMR, and I watch a lot of Japanese barbers, right? Because like it's just a very relaxing thing to help me go to sleep. And as I'm scrolling through my ASMR playlist, I found this place that's right outside Philadelphia, and that's what they do. They're like all American flags, side part, beard, that's what they offer there. And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Like they actually have
Wow.
an
Yeah,
ASMR playlist of white supremacist barber styles.
that's crazy.
I mean, there is this whole like aesthetic and this whole like retro fitted thing that a lot of people are doing. But for me, what was the most telling was before the videos were released. You saw the one video that, and it was just like there was the shooting, right? And the government came out, and Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem were making their statements. Then the second and third video came, and it clearly showed what I would say is the execution, on the street, broad daylight execution. No one changed their playbook. And if you remember that first 24 hours when all those videos were coming out, when you could clearly see what would happen and how he was protecting the woman and moved, and how it looked he fell and they were slipping and sliding on the ice. You could clearly see what had happened. No one in the White House got off script. That to me was the most telling moment of like, okay, this is actual fascism and a dictatorship.
Yes.
Because usually in communication, you do not give a detailed statement if A, you don't know what happened, or B, the facts on the ground have changed. Usually, once the facts change, you either delay the press release, you delay the engagement, and you circle back. They did not. And I was like, oh, this is not, we are somewhere
Right.
far beyond saving
That's a
in
very
this
astute
moment.
analysis.
But and before I want to get more into that part of it, I did want to touch on, just because we were mentioning altered photos, I did want to touch on that. You know, before we saw this photo of Alex, Nakima
Yeah.
Bibi Armstrong, who was one of the people that protested the church in Minneapolis that had an ice age as a pastor and was arrested. The White House digitally altered her photo, which apparently how they did it is something that is illegal. They did it anyway. So I did just want to say, like, again, to the point that we were making, and to Miracle's broader point on this podcast, is when they do it to black people and you laugh and think it's cool, or you think like, oh, this isn't something that is, I don't have to worry about this, that's them, it's going to come back around to you. And we did see that, because the whole thing became, once all of the footage came out that showed Alex Pretti was executed, was murdered in cold blood, then it became all of a sudden, again, now we've watched these MAGA and these Republicans, remember, when it was all about protecting our rights and our constitutional rights, right? Remember, Donald Trump said on day one, oh, I'm going to end censorship. Remember, they were like, we're all being censored. We can't say what we want to say. We're being censored. And then y'all cheered when that man tried to cancel Jimmy Kimmel's show because he didn't like what Jimmy Kimmel said about Charlie Kirk, right? So first it was, they're trying to censor us. Then it's like, oh, if you say anything about Charlie Kirk or anything about somebody we love, then we're going to try to come for your job. We're going to try to come for your livelihood. Well, it's like, wait, I thought it was about not being censored and being able to say whatever we want to say. So we saw y'all throw the First Amendment in the trash. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to be honest, I should have seen. I did not think we would come to a point where they would throw the Second Amendment in the trash. But that became, that response was, oh, he shouldn't have had a gun. And of course, Shouldn't have had a gun
Even
in a
Kyle
protest.
Rittenhouse was like, absolutely not. And that's what, like, somebody was like,
Oh,
imagine
Kyle
we
Rittenhouse
doing
said that?
Google Boys, Kyle Rittenhouse, and the NRA, like, in the same day, right?
I didn't know that. So Kyle
he-
Rittenhouse had a comment and said, no, the dude should have been carrying a
No,
gun?
he came out and said, like, you should always be able to be armed or something of that
Got you.
nature. And like, and it was weird because like we're all having these conversations of like this is the Twilight Zone. The strangest, like us in the NRA, like
Yes.
feeling like you have the right to the Second Amendment, like it doesn't make sense. But now they're saying, well, this is going to end up with Kristi Noem either quitting or resigning, and Stephen Miller possibly being reassigned. They were already trying to push him out to Venezuela. This may be the thing to get him out the White House. But it's the idea of like, again, white supremacy. Once you have served white supremacy and you become, you know, someone that is like getting in the way, they're going to just get rid of you. Kristi Noem was over here doing photo shoots and all type of stuff in, you know, in these detention centers, screwed up one too many, and she's gone. But let me say this, because she wouldn't have been able to do this violence if Democrats did not vote for her. And ICE would not be able to do this violence if Democrats did not vote for this funding, if Obama wouldn't have expanded ICE operations. And so we really have to get to a point where we do not allow Republicans to keep winning and just setting policy when our progressive and leftist people get in office. Because everything, whether it's the drone strikes, ICE, the TikTok ban, our free speech, Democrats have been complicit in all of these things. We already know Republicans are not for us. We already know Republicans are not fighting for us. But it should not take two people to be murdered in broad daylight on camera during, you know, the Lord's time for people to be like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have voted for that.
Right.
Maybe I should have rethought, you know, and right now we're in this position of like rethinking. And I think it's very fitting that today is also International Holocaust Remembrance Day, because like we've learned nothing. And I think what we are seeing is people want to mirror fascism and power instead of actually doing the real work to prevent it.
Right. It's like,
and
go ahead, Miracle. I was going to say, like, people want it both ways. A lot of times, like, a lot of these Democrats want it both ways, right? Because it's this thing of like, you to take a stance. I remember when Trump got elected and we got a call at One Hood Media, and somebody was like, are you all going to scrub your website? This was was from a foundation. And I said, no, actually, we're going to lean more into...
We're going to double down. 10 toes.
Right. And so, and again, with that, you know, we made it through last year, but last year was a tough year, right? So, again, but again, we don't do this work because this is where the money is. Like, again, you know, like we're all of us are artists on this call. All of us are artists on this call. Like, if we wanted to go out and make, you know, some shake your ass moves, we all could. You know, if Miracle wanted to go consult these Republicans and tell them the right thing to say, she could be a multi-millionaire, right? So we do this work because we really care about our community. This is part of why we do it. But I think like when it's a lot of these Democrats and a lot of these and this is what's happening in the kind of like the brain of a lot of these white people now, that it is reaching them, right? And people that look like them, it's like, oh, you still want to maintain that position because you're watching them, you know, really attempting to put white people back on top, and specifically white men. So there's a part of these white people that are cool with that. Like you said, because they pay less taxes. You said this all the time, Farouk, that you feel like a lot of these Democrats secretly vote for Republicans because like
they have to.
You benefit from these things, right? And so it's like
statistics of it.
But now in this moment, it really requires you to take a stand and pick a side. And if in this moment, after what we've seen, you still have trouble picking a side, you've already picked a side. You've chosen.
Absolutely.
Like to be afraid.
And that's specifically that.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, this last thing I'll say, to be afraid of what the Trump administration might do, and if I go too far, they come for me, that you've actually chosen to capitulate to Trump and his administration. And again, that's what it looks like. all particularly Chuck Schumer and Hank Jeffries, they breaking their knee pads out. I mean, you've been on your knees this whole time, and if in the midst of this you still can't stand strumming, come on, you think training is gonna get us out of this? Like, so if you still can't take a stand and say, no, we can't fund this, we have to eliminate them. ICE was created under George Bush. It's new, right? We've had mad years in America without ICE. We can continue without them. Farouk.
When you have Cory Booker and Hank Jeffries getting up and speaking about further training and ways to improve the conditions of ICE, and then you have the NRA, the NRA, right? Kyle Rittenhouse, Joe Rogan, all of these wild alt-right people saying, whoa, hold on.
Yes.
ICE is tripping.
Yes. Yeah.
How the cowardice of you niggas.
Yeah.
The disgust that I have every time I see your name pop up in the news, because you don't stand for anything.
No.
Like, you really don't. You stand to just exist and suckle at the teat of power and reap the benefits of playing the middle line.
100%. Remember,
right? That's all you do. You're there just to get along.
Right. There just was an ICE funding bill in Congress, and they said that Hank Jeffries, and we're calling him Hank on purpose. We know his name. You know what I'm saying? We're not respecting
that nigga Hank.
We're not respecting that.
Ain't no respect over here for that nigga, man.
That nigga, we call him Hank Jeffries.
It's five fingers all around if that nigga come around the end chatting about respect me.
But they said he chose not to whip votes against that bill. This was after we watched Renee Good get shot in the face. Right.
Yeah.
So like now, apparently, there are enough senators that are going to stop that funding. Well, we're hoping. You know what I'm saying? Not our senator. I mean, because John Fetterman. I mean, he's just again another horrible trying to play the middle line. Oh, ICE is cool, but right? What? You know what I'm saying? But what is? There's no process to even. This man Bovino came on TV and said, we will never know that officer's name. They got that officer out of Minneapolis, and he basically said, y'all will never know who that man is that killed Alex Pretti. His family can't even get justice, can't even name the killer and get some type of justice, and you're going to try to tell me you're going to reform this?
They're repealing your constitutional rights, literally amendment by amendment. Yeah. Your right to face your accuser, your right to free speech, your right to freedom of assembly, your right to bear arms, your right to due process, habeas corpus. All things are gone. This is not democracy. All of these countries that you said you were against, right? You have more freedom when China owned TikTok. You have more freedom of speech when China owned TikTok.
That's crazy.
Than you do now.
100%. Right. And then remember they all
disparage China. Don't disparage Russia and all these other places.
You can't.
You can't. You live in a country with less rights than their citizens do.
Remember when they all had them little guns? Remember they all put their little guns on their lapel? Now, this is what I want y'all to do. Now, what I want you all to do is get a picture of Donald Trump. Right? I want you to and put his get a little pin.
Miracle. You think Trump is packing?
Please stop.
No, because you don't act like this if you packing. Like you don't behave like
Please
this.
Stop.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't.
These things don't bother you. These things don't bother. None of them. Not because again, and then why would you want a bunch of little energy around you if you was packing? Everybody around Stephen Miller. I mean, all of these. You look at these niggas. Look at Bovino. Look at these niggas. These is little energy people. You know what I'm saying? But fact. I just want y'all to get a little Trump pin.
Conversation has mentioned over like 50 times.
I'm just saying, Miracle. They was putting guns on their things. They were literally wearing gun pins, and now they're saying
let me say
you can't carry a gun. Now they're against guns. So again, the one thing you all seem to be for is for putting Donald Trump's just put the little on your thing.
They're trying to do a coup. They're trying to find a way to cancel the government. And I think that people are starting to say, like, this is not going to work. I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene who said, like, there are clear signs that we are headed to a civil war, right? People are saying they want the National Guard to fight ICE, all these things. Now everybody's trying to get their weapons. It's absolutely ridiculous because all Trump has to do is just be normal. Like the one thing he had to do was just be like, yeah, I'm gonna just be normal. I'm gonna run on my campaign
even if
promises.
he had,
Not like that, but
even if he had medium energy, why isn't he normal, Miracle? Let's get to the bottom of it.
bruh, I guess I like at the end of the day, you know, my theory is that he tried to compete with Obama. Everything Obama has done,
Yes.
he has tried to do, whether
Yeah.
it's become a deporter in chief, try to get the Nobel Peace Prize,
Yeah.
try to do his reelection, all of these things. Like he's in this secret competition with Obama.
Yeah.
And I also think that like Obama knows this.
Everything you say, Miracle, is proving my point, but please continue.
I think Obama knows this, and right now we need him like more on the front line.
Because you know who doesn't have secret. You know what type of people don't have secret battles.
Stop. But I do think that what we are seeing, and it's very scary because I know we talked like last episode, people were saying there's like detention centers just for citizens. All of these things, this whole remigration battle they're trying to use for Black people, it has just been very wild to watch people show up in negative temperatures, right? People are out here, it's like 2 degrees, 3 degrees, even here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
People have been outside every single day, mobilizing and organizing, and we've seen ICE snatch people here. Like
100%.
Here in Pittsburgh, we had somebody pretend to be an ICE agent to go and rob people. So now we have to worry about actual ICE officers doing messed up things.
Yeah.
Then we have to worry about fake ICE officers doing messed up things. We don't know who these officers are. Right. They don't have a uniform. It like changes from like city to city, jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
And as Black and brown people, we still got to worry about the regular police. We still get harassed and killed by the regular. It was a brother in San Diego that got shot by the police the other day. So again, we still got to worry about that.
And then there was a memo got leaked where they said the ICE agents didn't even have to have, they were told they didn't even have to have warrants.
Nope.
So it's just like the wildest things that we are literally facing while still trying to like navigate being in a recession, navigate being for our out there for our people.
Yeah.
It's just absolute madness.
Like you said,
eggs are expensive. Gas is still
Miracle.
expensive.
Navigate a snowstorm that affected like 38 out of the 50 states, right? Where we have record snow, record cold. And like you said, people are still going. In Minneapolis, they were out there in negative 10-degree weather protesting. And like you said, it doesn't have to be like that, but we have this gangster administration that has been demanding these voter rolls. Why do you want the voter rolls? Why are the ginger brother, you know what I'm saying? The ginger brother that, does his thing on TikTok was basically saying he believes, he believes that ICE is going to be, basically ICE is going to be deployed to voting polls to quote unquote weed out illegals, but to really make people afraid to actually go and exercise their right to vote. So again, but ultimately now they did say this actually article just came out. It says that White House officials sought to rapidly distance Donald Trump and top officials from their initial portrays of the man fatally shot by federal officials in Minnesota as a gunman, as they face deepening backlash after video footage was widely seen to undercut their assertions, right? It says over the weekend, senior administrative officials, including Stephen Miller, called the victim of domestic terrorists who tried to assassinate law enforcement. Now they're backtracking. And again, now they're trying to find another way to go about this. To me, we already got the video of you basically describing, they put Greg Bavino describing the situation and juxtaposed it to the actual video. And you see it's a complete, total fabricated lie. Like, it's not like they don't have access to these videos. You're going to just straight up lie to our face when we have the video. Why would I believe anything that comes out of this administration? People are actually saying if they're going to lie to our face about what we see on video, imagine what they're lying about, what we don't see or not able to access. And again, all of this is under the cloud. Like Donald Trump, like it's like we're not talking about Epstein. Apparently now you can't even use Epstein on TikTok, as Farouk said. Like TikTok under China, you have way more free speech than TikTok now, right? Trump is his health, his behavior. He got big ass scars on his hands. Like we don't know what is up with this man's health or what are the prospects are. Again, it's like we're in the upside down. Stranger Things went off, but now we in the upside down. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, who knows when this shit is going to end? Right.
Yeah, but the thing about J.D. Vance presidency, if something it goes wrong with Trump, is
right now
is
we
even
gotta
worse.
now we gotta post up outside the furniture stores armed, right?
No, but I believe that that's part of the reason why we've seen so much investment into AI, because it is a thing of like, when the bad thing happens, you're not going to believe the bad thing is happening because you don't know if you're going to be able to trust it or not. And I do think that's part of the reason why the Trump administration has been so much into boosting AI and using AI and distorting the truth, is because they know something bad. I believe something bad is going to happen, because yes, you do not staff. The ICE is a almost a domestic army that's completely loyal to Trump, that is reporting directly to Trump. The war powers, there is Congress right there. Even, the president is the commander in chief. There are other regulatory bodies for our law enforcement, for our soldiers, the National Guard, but ICE, that is a federal agency, federal executive powers. And I do think that we do have to be very mindful about the elections. There's no need to have access to the voter rolls, because the states have already gone through their own voter rolls and determined who was a citizen and who's not, which is why states have already prosecuted, I think, less than 1% of people for voter fraud, and less than that 1% has been people who are undocumented.
Right. And the two biggest ones were Republicans that were down with Donald Trump. I do want to say, though, Miracle, before we get off this topic, that Republicans have been protesting with guns. Again, like the idea. Remember when Obama got elected and they marched on the White House with guns? We talked about it right after the Tree of Life massacre here. Y'all did a whole protest with guns. Republicans been doing gun protests for the last fucking 100 years. Now all of a sudden, you shouldn't come to a peaceful protest with a gun. What are you talking about? Again, like, you this is like, we have the footage and the files and the receipts. So again, so if you're saying that in this moment, it's only because you're trying to curry favor with Donald Trump and the Trump administration. You have outed yourself as a fascist and a fascist supporter. Like you said, even Kyle Rittenhouse said you should carry everywhere and not let it. This is Kyle Rittenhouse. But again, how do we know Kyle Rittenhouse? Because you made this man a hero when he showed up at a protest with a gun and actually shot people. Like, what in the hell? So again, if you're right, so if you're telling me, right, because your man won, he can just take the Constitution, throw it in a shredder or burn it, and you don't care, then again, we'll see you at the camps. I hope you're the first one in the camps. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the only outcome we've seen. You said it, Farouk. We've seen this play out. And that's the ill part to me. It's like all those things you all said you stood for were all bullshit. Because really all you want is power. All you want is white power. That's it. And really, specifically, white male power. And you wanted a return to the time where, as white men, you could basically tell anybody else what to do. You got full control over everybody else, and everybody had to cater to your whims. But guess what? That shit ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely ain't coming. It ain't coming. It ain't happening over here. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for nobody else. I can say it's not happening over here. You know what I'm saying? So, let that be known. But anyway, final words on ICE, Alex, and all this stuff that has taken place.
I do think it's very interesting that we're talking about gun ownership and guns. Because it's also when white men show up to protest with guns, the police don't show up. But think about like
Correct.
January 6th. Like they showed up with guns,
Yes.
weapons,
Whip, zip ties,
nothing happened.
bombs. They all got pardoned. They showed up with bombs, pardoned. Yeah. No, yeah.
Like I just
remember Miracle. I think you were there. You might have been there. Farouk, you might have been there too. We did an event in Homewood, and Homewood is a black community in Pittsburgh, and it was around a young person that was killed by the police, and so there was a lot of people out there, and it was music and it was different things, and there were two black men that had holstered pistols, which is legal in Pittsburgh, and the police were acting like they had to go take these men's guns. And so the question, so then I remember being in the conversation was like, well, why? People were like, we know these men, but ultimately they're not breaking any laws. Again, when we have a gun, why is it all of a sudden something, right? These motherfuckers can take guns in their Christmas cards. They can have a bunch of guns in their prom pictures, but let a black person have a gun and all of a sudden we deserve to be killed. But since we're on this subject of black people and guns, right? We have seen an interesting trajectory take place. You know what I'm saying? And it be that thing of sometimes when you go viral, it might not always be the best thing, right? We saw a clip go viral a few weeks ago of the Black Panther Party in Philadelphia, and specifically the brother that was the head of the Black Panther Party. I think his name is Paul Birdsong, you all said. And he was communicating with the Philadelphia police, and the laws in Pennsylvania changed, particularly in Philadelphia, where you can open carry guns. In Philadelphia, this is a recent change. And so they were out there, they had their guns, and he wasn't respectful with that cop. He was like, I can carry this gun, I can do what I want to do, get out my neighborhood, we don't need you. And then he showed up at a protest and basically had said, yo, if ICE show up, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no ICE agent gonna tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. And that started to go viral. And then people started to wonder who this man was, but also who gave these brothers the right to call themselves the Black Panther Party. So we saw Huey Newton's niece hop into the conversation, and I guess you said she was a MAGA Republican. I had no idea about who owned the name Black Panther Party. There were questions about where did this brother come from, what's his background, because again, the first time I saw him was in these two clips. And there was a question of, is he a plant? Like, if you're in one of these cities and you're kind of, you got a gun, you're threatening ICE, Trump gonna send them, and supposedly Philadelphia is a place that was being considered the next place ICE was gonna come. So people are saying, okay, is this a setup? Who is he working with? And then it culminated in them, having to give back the name or give up the name of Black Panthers, like elder Black Panthers, Aaron Dixon, who I know, I've met, I have his book, I guess, pulled support from them. And now they the Black Lions. Doesn't have the same ring to it. I don't know.
Doesn't have the same ring to it. But I think that the dispute was handled correctly, right? There were people like who gave them permission to say the name, and they realized there were other elders in the movement who had given them permission.
Right.
So okay, there was some education and some training.
Right.
But I think the Oakland chapter was like, listen, we are as Black Panthers for self-defense. We do not go to look for fights, and we do not bring fights to us.
Yes.
And so the statements that are going viral is putting marginalized people at risk, and therefore
1,000%.
that is not in alignment with the Black Panther Party's mission.
And if I could just touch on that, I'll come back to you, right? Because the clip I saw, he was like, if an ICE agent come over here, I'll put a hole in the ICE agent, whatever. And again, to me, that made me see that person as an immature leader, because again, we already seen, have you been watching how ICE rolls, how ICE is coming? They're not coming 1-2 deep. They're coming in tanks. They have weapons. And like, why would you want to invite that? And then now when they come, now you have to stand by your word. So why would you if I was standing next to him, I'm like, wait, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Because when they come now, if you say you're going to up it when they come, you got to do that. And what do you think the response is going to be? If they're killing people who have not produced any weapons, do you think you have the gun? The 12 of y'all got y'all going to go up against all of ICE? Is that what you think is going to happen? And so to me, when I saw that statement, I looked at it as clout chasing. Like, okay, now you're doing some internet clout chasing, because that is not strategic, right? Saying, yo, we're here and we're going to protect our community, I'm all for that. And anybody that's down to do that, I believe that is beautiful. But like you said, Miracle, if you're trying to invite a war or bring a war into our community, and now because I'm black and I might choose to wear black that day, I might get mistaken for one of y'all. To me, that showed me that's like, okay, that's not good. And maybe he was just hyped that day. I don't know the brother, but if I was advising him, I would say, bro, don't do that. That is not, to me, that's not leadership. That is like you speaking from your, from your arrogance and ego, not from a place of we're trying to get actual justice and liberation. Please continue.
Now is the time.
Yeah, because I think the first clip was when he was kind of confronting the Philadelphia police.
Yes.
Got like less attention, but still the thing of like, you assaulted some kids in our neighborhood, we're letting you know you can't do that. Like, yes, that's great. But for me, the bigger issue was people were really upset that he was at an ICE protest and was saying that he was going to be defending immigrant neighbors. And a lot of people were like, well, the Black Panther Party didn't stand for like immigration or didn't stand for other people. And they're like, but they did though.
They did.
Huey did. He wrote it. And then it was like, oh, have you not read his readings? And then it was like, oh, but you can't read his readings because you don't have the ability to go to these universities and to go into the archives and sit at the archives. And I'm someone who loves June Jordan and I quote her a lot, but it's the same thing of like, if I want to read the thoughts of my elders and ancestors, the fact that I have to go to a white institution, sometimes pay a white institution or even pay a white library to read our elders, that's the problem. And that's why a lot of the teachings aren't getting passed down, because people were like, well, what reading was there? What book was there? And it was like, if these books are not even put out for us to purchase,
right,
then the only ability for us to have these readings is to go to an archive. We are literally being almost like blockaded from our own history.
True.
And the fact that like a random Twitter account had to post, readings that they illegally took a picture of at an archive I think is a problem. And it really goes to show that like there is a consistent effort to make sure that our communities are not in solidarity with each other, that we're not learning from each other, and that we're not actually carrying the tools. Because I've talked to Black Panthers for years. The gun was the least thing that they were focused on. They were focused on mutual aid. They were focused on healthcare. They were focused on feeding the community, and they were focused on educating them. First and foremost, the Black Panther Party was the party of education and liberation, and they were focused on education for their community. And that's the biggest thing they did was their reading programs and their housing programs. They also did medical clinics. They were also bringing doctors and dentists to people, right? But what we saw was when they were being impacted from the state and responding to the state. I love to listen to Fred Hampton's speeches on YouTube. If you go back and you just spend like a day listening to those speeches, you're like, oh, the guns were the last thing they were worried about. They had the guns because they knew that when you disrupt the order of the society, the police state will come down on you. That's why they had the guns for it. They weren't going out to look for a fight. And I do think that like outside of telling people to read the Panthers and be educated about the Panthers, we have to basically demand that we have access to our people and to our history, because if not, we're going to have people who are making these mistakes because even though they've done some of the readings, they can't access them all.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, I think there's also a piece around like a lot of times we look at the I want to bring you into this fruit before I feel like I gave a lot of thoughts. Miracle gave a lot of thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Oh, there's a lot of good stuff being said.
This is the moment. This is the moment where Fruit checks out. No, I was gonna say, like, Miracle, to your point. What people know, a lot of people's fascination about the Black Panther Party is their iconography, right? And the Black Panthers were very good at, they had the berets and it was all black, and they had the cool panther. I mean, again, it was like a dope thing to look at and dress up as. And obviously, I think Angela Davis's birthday was yesterday, right? And you see, like, all, they had a lot of Black women at the forefront of their movements as well. And so, but that iconography was cool, right? And so again, so now, because I know one of the pushbacks were like, why don't you start your own thing, right? Right, but that's harder, right? As a group that, One Hood, although we're, celebrating 20 years this year, it's difficult to create your own iconography and your own identity and your own brand. It's easier to just take a brand, right? It's easier to just be like, oh, we're the new Black Panther Party, because that history that the Black Panther Party's created, you didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody else did that. You didn't, you know what I mean? So I do think, like, and again, I wish them brothers the utmost success, but like, do your own thing, create your own thing, but that's harder labor. Create your own identity, creating your own, we had to meet and say, what are our transformative goals as One Hood? What is our mission in One Hood? We all had to agree with it, and then we had to manifest it. That's always much harder than I can just go and put on that piece. But when you do go and put on somebody else's stuff, something that somebody else worked for, it is kind of like, it can look a little cosplayish if you aren't doing that other stuff, right? So it's like, okay, y'all got the guns. Where's the book program? Where's the library at? Are you feeding people in the community? Like, again, like, see, you should be at the ICE rally. We all should be defending one another in this moment. But again, people hungry right now. You know what I'm saying? Where's the coat drives? Like, where are those other things that you could be doing? And if we saw a mix of all of those things, I think that then it's like, okay, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And so I do, hope that, because sometimes, man, them lights come on and you get that success and you could get pulled into that world of, because again, it's like, are we revolutionaries or are we content creators? What are we? You know what I'm saying? And can you do both? And can you do both from a legitimate place? Right? Can you do both from a place of I guess now with TikTok being bought, maybe not, but you know what I'm saying? So I think all those things are really important. Did you want to move on to our final subject, Farouk? This might make you more into the conversation. Did you want to talk about your friend, your favorite producer, MC, Kanye West?
I never stopped supporting him, so I'm glad he's getting the help that he's
wait. We don't even know. Okay, so this is what Kanye West said. You know what I'm saying? First of all, okay,
why you asked me how I felt? I'm telling you right now.
We're not even gonna go there. Kanye West has spent the last few years, like, when you talk about burning bridges, like, Kanye West has gone torch earth on all human beings. Like, the man showed up in a Black Klan costume, right? He said, fuck Jewish people, fuck Black people, fuck poor people. Remember, Kanye said you couldn't talk to him if you didn't have more money than him. You know what I'm saying? Again, fuck his family. Like, he went scorched earth. Fuck Jay-Z, everybody that put him in a position to be successful. He said, fuck everybody. You know what I'm saying? So now Kanye wrote this letter. And I guess Kanye, maybe Kanye was probably perusing the internet and saw a video of right-wing influencers in a club saying Hail Hitler, singing a song, popularizing his song, and kind of probably said enough's enough. So he put a one-page ad out, and I think the Wall Street Journal, he took a full-page ad offering his apology to Jewish people, to Black people. Is this saying he's getting help? Do we think? Let me start with you, Miracle.
Do Black people read the Wall Street Journal as
Absolutely
their paper
not.
of record?
Absolutely not. No.
Like, yes, we're reading the journal, but as their paper of record.
No, we don't.
It's not for us, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, what I think is he saw that video of them in the Miami club and was like, his thing is over. Like I think I look at Kanye as like a shock jock. He is
Yes.
someone who likes attention, and when he could not get the love through the attention that he wanted, he was like, okay, well, you're gonna hate me, you're gonna talk about me, so I'm still going to get the attention from you.
Yes.
And now they're like, he's just regular. Now there
Yeah.
are so many black and brown and non-white people who can do these salutes that it's not like shocking anymore. It's no one's like, when's the last time you actually, before this apology, really talked about Kanye? You know what I
Right.
mean? And so now he has to do something different. I
Yeah.
fear that his different is going to be in like this mental health space, and he's getting ready to sell something. And I think it's also very, very important that based on the apology, that just because you're a bipolar does not make you racist. Just because you're a bipolar does not make you an asshole. And just because you're a bipolar does not mean that you are just going to be an asshat to anyone you disagree with. I think that's very, very like important to say. Because he did talk about like he had this like 4-month spiral, yada yada yada. But his spiral has been, a little longer than 4 months. It's been, a couple of years. Is this has been Kanye, right? But I fear that he's about to rebrand into like this mental health, wellness, coaching, Church of Kanye thing. Because again, with fascism comes cults, and I feel like he's about to market something, and that's what I am more worried about. I think that he was right to apologize, because when you do harm, you do apologize and take accountability. But I feel like this is just him being like, I have to do something else because I'm not getting the attention anymore. I'm not getting the clicks and the likes and the contracts anymore. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you, Miracle. I don't think none of that is an explanation of his behavior. Farouk, do you think? A lot of people are saying like Kanye West got an album coming out. This was probably why he's making the attempt. Do you think, again, like Kanye makes good music? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. And according to you, he's made some good music over the past few years, even when he was making some very, very dark themed music. Do you think that Kanye will come back, or do you think like even that he'll be accepted by mainstream audiences moving forward?
Absolutely.
I wonder if, again, Vanity Fair did an interview with him. I guess we'll see. I wonder if, my, and this is what I wonder. I mean, again, right now, I wonder, like, will Kanye, who again, Kanye had the Trump hat on in the White House. Will Kanye make a statement? But Kanye, throughout history, was somebody that supported protests and support. He showed up in Chicago for Black Lives Matter. He was the one that said George Bush don't care about black people. It will be interesting to see if Kanye interjects himself in some of the national things that is happening right now. Like, is he still on board with Trump and what Trump's doing? I think, particularly as somebody that has black children. To me, I think these are questions that I would like to ask him if that ever came about. Go ahead, bro.
There's nothing culturally relevant and deemed cool that Kanye West has an influence in the last 20 years. It doesn't matter if it's being just edgy and being a black Trump supporter. He made that cool. He opened that lane up for all those black people to go through that, right? Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it is a thing.
Right.
The oversized, homeless aesthetic that he did with fashion. He brought that shit. Like, Kanye West influenced every single poppin' thing that we consume in the last 20 years. So someone like that, it doesn't matter what he says. Like, if you let Leonardo DiCaprio in these places, if you let, Woody Allen in these places, Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, all these people were successful even after the scandals came out.
Yeah, but would you, again, is that the company you want to be in? Like, do you
I'm not
want
saying
your...
I want to be
No,
that company.
I'm not saying that.
If
I'm
I
not,
said yeah, it would be successful.
what I'm saying
Absolutely.
is, like, if you're Kanye West, would you want, again, I wouldn't want my name mentioned with those names that you just mentioned, but that's where he is, right? He's in that
But I
category.
mean,
I don't know about,
Kanye or
you know,
somebody in that
I don't, again, I
conversation
don't
is
know
like,
what
yeah, but you're
Leonardo
still talking about
DiCaprio's
me.
done other than, date women like younger than him, a
But yeah,
lot
that's the
younger than
thing.
him.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's one of these people who's been dragged on social media for his taste in women, right? For
Right, right,
for
right,
how
right.
he aligns
Yeah, it
himself,
hasn't
right? This
hasn't
ain't no
stopped him. But I think
it hasn't.
there's a difference between getting dragged for your taste in women and I'm selling swastika t-shirts. Like, hey, guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to make a t-shirt with a swastika on it and I'm going to sell it. And I'm going to call myself a Nazi. And I'm going to show up in a Black Klansman. Like, that's
Adolf Hitler.
right. That's very different than you date girls that are younger, that are of legal age, but they're younger. They're from the 23 to or 21 to 24 years of age. And that's just your spot that you're going to. I think that's very different. And again, to me, again, like you said, there's no question musically and fashion wise, Kanye West has, like you said, been extremely influential and probably can still be moving forward. I think the question is, will somebody will he be able to climb out of that hole? How does it look? And like I said, as somebody who watched Kanye kind of be in many ways like a outspoken rapper when it came to different topics, it will be interesting in this moment in time where we have so much happening. Like, that would be my number one question. Does he still ride with Donald Trump? Does he still have political aspirations? But more so, does he ride with Donald Trump? And what does he think of what's happening now in this moment? Does he have, particularly as a father, what's up? So I guess we'll see, you know what I'm saying, what happens. And, I will be interested to hear what Kanye had to say about what Nicki Minaj has been doing. Like, what do you think about? I mean, as somebody that kind of, because again, like, to me, she's spiraling the way that Kanye was spiraling, and it's like, how does Nicki Minaj defend this? Did she come out with a post attacking, Alex? She might have, you know what I'm saying? How does she defend this? And so I think all those things are interesting to, take note of. With that being said, our white pages this week is, because you need this now more than ever, how we fight white supremacy. This is what's needed. This is Akiba Solomon and Kenra Rankin. How we fight white supremacy. And there's a young man in this book that you might know, named Jasiri X. But anyway, how we fight white supremacy is our white pages of the week. We have some stuff coming up. We have our Civic Cipher with Kelly Strayhorn coming up February 10th. We have a bunch of events happening. Once it turns to February, One Hood kicks into high gear. We have the Kiki Ball Queer Quarterly coming up the first weekend of February, the 6th and 7th. We have our Civic Cipher featuring the Great Miracle on February 10th. We have a conversation with Chenjerai Komiyika and Summer Lee on February 17th. And so we're kind of going into high gear as we celebrate Black History Month. We're still, coordinating with folks and protesting with folks. We were out there last week. We did a protest at Target where we were in solidarity with our immigrant community and with the communities in Minneapolis. And we will continue to be, as an organization. So if you want to, support our work, you got info at One Hood. You can donate to us. You can get merchandise from us if you want to support. So with that being said, final words. Farouk is currently being held hostage. Did the hostage?
ICE out, abolish ICE.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
We do have some petitions and actions happening. We outside every day in the Pittsburgh area. But just watch out for each other. No one is safe in the police state. I've been saying this for a minute. But our safety is in each other. So just, even if you're not blowing a whistle, just check on your neighbor, be in solidarity with your neighbor. I heard something I think Kiera said earlier, it's easier to build relationships in times of peace than having to try to find a relationship in times of crisis.
Yes.
And so now is the time to build relationships. We know it's going to get worse. So now's the time to build relationships.
Yes.
So just look out for
Same.
each other.
Abolish ICE, and apparently Miracle also wants to abolish meetings. But we're going to start with abolishing ICE, and then we'll
First
work
of all,
on the
let's
meetings.
talk about that. We do not need meetings or icebreakers. Like we just need to do the work. We just need to do the work as we,
Yes.
go into it.
Yes. So if you want to follow us on social media, One Hood Media, One Hood on X, follow us, support us, and we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully we'll be in person, but that depends on what the weather is going to be. Peace, y'all. It's One Hood.